Okay. A very good morning to all of you. Is my audio clear? Okay. So thanks for joining in. All right. Let's not waste our time and start with the lesson. If there's anyone who need the YouTube link, you can drop me a WhatsApp message or click above. Before that, can I know if you all tried the MCQs I sent you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Nice to see that. So, operating system. Before that, how many of you have studied the theory of this lesson? Some are, I think, 2028 as well, and there are 2027 as well. Raise your hands if you have studied the theory of this lesson. Okay, looks like many are struggling with operating system. So, what is an operating system? Recordings, as I mentioned, I will provide only on valid reasons since it's a free class. Okay, so what is an operating system? Is it an application software or a system software? Let's see a short definition in the chat box quickly. Yes, correct. So it is a system software. So, an operating system is a piece of software that acts as an intermediary between a computer user and the computer hardware. Further, we'll study some theories through the questions. Hold on till I open it. And I want everyone to reply to my messages. Be active, guys. Can you all see the screen? I hope so. Yes. So first we will do more questions. After that, there are some FWC questions. At the end, we will do past paper MCQs as well. So what is this Mora paper? I think most of you all know. You should be knowing it actually. It's an IC exam conducted by the University of Mora students, right? They will conduct the examination every year. So you can apply for it and go into the exam as a trial before the actual exam. I hope you all know about that already. I would recommend you to go and do that exam. Okay, let's begin. So, first one. Okay, so memory management technique in which system stores and retrieves data from secondary storage for use in memory is called. What is the answer? While I'm reading the question, I want the answers dropping in the chat box quickly. Everyone. Quickly, guys. Are you guys sleepy? Is that so? Only few are replying or still on holiday mode. Entire questions we'll see until 2 o'clock. Let's see if we can complete everything. If not, I will skip and do only important questions. I mean, good questions. Okay, guys, quickly send me the answer. I'll give you 1 minute. I can see who is replying and not. So don't make me read your names as well. Shall I select one person and ask the answer? I think that is better, right? If I don't get the answer in the chat box, I'm going to select one person and make them say the answer. Okay, I hope my audio is clear now. Okay, are you guys sure the answer is swapping or paging? What do you all say? Let's see how many gets it right. Okay, if it is paging, then what is swapping? Right. So yes, many people fall for this trap, and the answer is paging actually. So paging is a scheme that allows the operating system to retrieve data from secondary storage like a hard drive in same size blocks called pages and place them into main memory, which is the RAM. So this is a fundamental component of what? Virtual memory, isn't it? So I hope the ones who got it wrong is clear. Okay, mapping is another thing. I asked swapping because many get confused between paging and swapping. So swapping is a memory management technique where an entire process is temporarily moved, or you could call it as swapped out of the main memory and placed into secondary storage, then brought back into memory later for execution. All right, so that was clear, right? So here they have mentioned stores and retrieves data, right? That suits best for what? Paging. Because swapping, what does it mean? It means moving the entire process. So I hope that part was clear. Okay, next one. Which of the following statement appropriately describe the Unix operating system? What is it? Is it a single user, single tasking operating system? No, right? Is it a single, again, it's not a single user. So that option is also out. It is not a network operating system. Then what is the answer? It is a multi-user, yes. But is it a multitasking operating system or a single tasking operating system? Yes, correct. It is a multitasking operating system. So remember about this this word, multi. Okay, good. Okay, so what is an advantage of the virtual memory? First of all, what is virtual memory? What is it? Okay, so virtual memory, it is a memory management technique that creates an illusion for users of a very large main memory. So it uses hardware and software to allow a computer to compensate for physical memory, such as RAM storages, by temporarily transferring data from random access memory to disk storage. So what does it do? It temporarily acts as a storage. Okay. So the operating system has the ability to do another task while doing one task. Is this an advantage of the virtual memory? Yes or no? No, right? That's not about the virtual memory. But what does it describes? This describes multitasking. While virtual memory helps multitasking by letting more programs stay open, this is not the definition or direct advantage of virtual memory. Got it? So it doesn't come under this. The ability of using one CPU for many tasks. So this one refers to what? CPU scheduling, or you could say time sharing. It is about how the processor manages its time across different jobs, not about how memory is handled. So this is about process management. It doesn't come under management part, sorry, memory management part. Fourth, the ability of increasing the capacity of secondary storage. This is wrong. Why? Because the virtual memory actually occupies space on your secondary storage to act as a swap file, slightly decreasing the available space for your files. So it doesn't increase the capacity of secondary storage. In case you didn't understand any explanation, let me know. So the prevention of fragmentation of hard disk in saving data files. So virtual memory does not do that, right? Disk fragmentation is only the topic. So this is not related to it. But they're asking about your virtual memory. So the answer is the ability of keeping open the programs larger than the capacity of the main memory. All right, I hope that was clear. Now you know that there are three types of allocations. What are those? Can I know what are those? There are three types, and in the question they have mentioned one type, contagious allocation in file management. What are the other two types in file management? All right, good. Others? Yes. So linked and indexed allocation. Now over here they're talking about contagious allocation only. Right? Before I explain, what is the answer? Read it and quickly drop in the chat box. You have tried it, right? So what is the answer? I want you all to try it first. Contagiously allocated files cannot be used efficiently afterwards. Okay, I got one correct answer. How about others? Don't say silent, guys. Reactive. Some of you asked study tips from me. I will say that at the end, after we have discussed the questions. Alright. Okay, good. Others. Okay, you are not active, so I'm going to pick one person. Quickly drop me the answer in the chat box. Let's see. You haven't tried this, right? I can see. Let's pick one person. Okay. Don't leave because I'm checking on. Okay, when I say I'm about to pick, I'm getting the answers. So I won't do that. Okay, good, good. See, you guys are active. Lazy to type or what? All right. So yes, the answer is fourth one, like you guys said. Contiguous allocated files can be efficiently used after yes. Since the file is stored in a contiguous sequence of blocks, the disk head moves minimally during read or write operations. This results in what? Faster access time. So that is correct. It is efficient to find the space compatible with the size of the file in hard disk to save the file. This is wrong. Why? Finding a large enough contiguous block for a new file can be difficult. The system must search for a freehole, which becomes less efficient as the disk fills up and becomes fragmented. So it's not efficient to find files in contiguous allocation. Sixth one, external fragmentation can occur due to contiguous allocation. Through. As files are created and deleted over time, the free space becomes broken into small non-contiguous blocks, even if the total free space is enough for a new file. It cannot be used if it is not in a single contiguous block. So great. That is an important topic. Next, we have the 2022 paper of the Mara paper. The data area that is used to store data in order to substitute the difference in operation speeds of various amount of data is called the, what is it? Yes, correct. The answer is buffer. What is a buffer? It is a temporary storage area used to hold data while it is being transferred between two devices or processes that operate at different speed. Example, between a fast CPU and a slower hard drive. So I hope that was clear. If there's any doubts, you can ask. Which of the following is not an information commonly found in the process control block of the operating system? Process number, yes, it is there in the PCB. Process scheduling state, you have to know what state process in is in. Program counter, yes, process state. Capacity of hard disk. So the PCB is a data structure used by the operating system to manage a specific process. It consists process specific data such as process state and process scheduling state, such as if it is in ready state, waiting state, or running state. So they're asking which is not any information commonly found in PCB, that is capacity of hard drive. because it is a system-wide hardware specification, not relevant to an individual process. I hope that was clear. Okay. So next one, I want the answer in chat box. The operating system uses various techniques for the space allocation of files. Among them, Dash creates an index table at the time of file creation. See, again, they're asking about allocation, types of allocation in file management. Okay, good. Yes, so it is index allocation. So in index allocation, all the pointers to various blocks of a file are brought together into one location called the index block. This block acts as an index table allowing for direct access to any block of the file. So remember that. I hope it was clear. Eighth one. The operating system maintains a page table for each process. Moreover, to identify the entry of a virtual page, the virtual page number is used as the index. Which of the following is not inserted in the page table entries? Not inserted in page table entries. What is not inserted? Okay, good. Others? Others quickly, I'm waiting. And the ones who are watching through YouTube, if there's any issues, any doubts, you can ask me. Okay. What about others? Don't know the answer of this question about page table. Quickly, guys. Yes or no? What is the answer? Which of the following is not inserted in the page table entries? Frame number, it is. Valid and invalid bit. Okay, so I'll explain. So frame number, this is the core part of the entry, mapping the virtual page to a physical frame. Valid or invalid bit, it indicates whether the page is currently in memory or not. Modified bit, that is, tracks if the page has been written to. Reference bit, it tracks if the page has been accessed recently. Page fault, this is an event or interrupt that occurs when a requested page is not in the page table. It is not a piece of data stored inside the table itself. Was that part clear? Why it is not inserted in the page table entries? layer. Yes. Okay, good. Okay. So dash is the buffer that holds the inputs and outputs of another devices, and it is a special area in memory or hard disk which is accessible to input or output devices. Which is the most suitable word for the blank? So it holds input and outputs of another devices. It's an easy question. Yes, correct. So it is spooling. Say it as. What is spooling? It is a process in which data is temporarily held in a buffer, usually on a disk, while waiting to be executed by a device or a program. So this is commonly used for what? For print jobs, right? It allows the computer to continue other tasks while the printer processes the data at its own speed, right? Was that clear? Okay. So Dash is a system program that operates or controls a particular device attached to a computer and also provides software interface to hardware devices. Most suitable word for the blank is what? So it operates or controls a device that is attached to the computer, and it also provides software interface to hardware devices. What is it? Another easy question. Others, quickly drop the answer in the chat box. I will be wait. I'll give you 1 minute. Even 1 minute is too much. Quickly, guys. Lena, Noora, answer. Ajmal. Yes. So the answer is device driver. So what is a device driver? It is a specialized software that acts as a translator between the operating system and a piece of hardware like a printer, graphics card, or mouse. So it allows the operating system to communicate with the hardware without needing to know the specific details of how the hardware works. Right? So it provides software interface and it operates and controls a particular device as well. Was that clear? Okay, good. So next is about the process state transition. You know, there are 7 states, and in there are 3 types of scheduling that happens, which is short-term scheduler, long-term scheduler, and mid-term scheduler. So process is a program and execution. Process changes through different states from its creation to termination, which is a correct statement about process state transition. Yes, correct, Shazna. Good. A new process we only change its state to ready. Wrong. Why? Why? Because a process often gets from new to ready. It can also transition directly to other states or be aborted depending on the operating system design, not only change to ready state. So that is wrong, right? So a process on running state can be switched to block state based on priority requirements. That is also incorrect because a process usually transits from running to blocked because it is waiting for an input output operation or an external event to occur, not priority based. Priority requirement typically causes a transition from running back to ready. Okay, so that is also wrong. So third one, that is a correct answer. Short-term scheduler assigns process from ready state to running state and it can be switched to terminated state after the end of its processing. So short-term scheduler is also known as the dispatcher. It selects a process from ready state and assigns it to the CPU, the running state. After completing its task, the process naturally moves to the terminated state. So yes, the answer is correct. Why is fourth wrong then? Will we see that as well? Long-term scheduler switches the process from block state to swapped out in block state. Wrong, because it's not the long-term scheduler that does that. It is the middle term, mid-term scheduler, which is responsible for swapping processes between main memory and secondary storage. Yes, midterm. Okay. Fifth, why is it wrong? Process on the block state will be switched to running state after input or output completion. This is incorrect because a process in the block state cannot move directly back to running. It must first return to the ready state to be scheduled by the CPU once again. So the answer is third one. Was it clear? Yes, okay, great. Okay. Consider the following statements about operating system. Programmer directly. So what are they asking? Which of the following are correct regarding generations of operating system? Right. So programmer directly interacts with the hardware and instructions are loaded directly into computer before the invention of operating system. The answer is correct. Why? Because before operating system existed, programmers interacted directly with hardware and loaded instructions manually. Option A is correct. B. In second generation, operating system maximized the processor utilization and programs were recorded in magnetic tape. So that is true. Second generation, what is it known as? Batch system. It used magnetic tape. Remember that as well. Second generation used magnetic tape. To group to group jobs aim to maximize process utilization. So that is also correct. In third generation, operating systems were introduced to maximize the process idle time during input and output. This is incorrect because in third generation systems, they introduced multi-programming to minimize process idle time, not maximize. So this option is wrong, right? In fourth generation, operating systems minimize the response time and maximize the user interaction during program execution. Is it correct? Is it true or false? True, yes. In fourth generation systems, example, the personal computers and networks, focus on minimizing response time and maximizing user interaction. So the answer is A, B, and D. Option number 3. I hope that was clear about generation of computers operating system. Which of the following cannot be considered as a function of operating system? Send me the answer in the chat box quickly. Am I going too fast? You want me to slow down or is this okay? Guys, so the one watching through YouTube, sorry, I missed. I think I received your message later. You can drop me WhatsApp message if there's any doubt. Process stage 7 explanation, I didn't get you. So I think it's the live chat is going a bit slow. Okay. Hope everything was clear. You can drop me a WhatsApp message if it's not. Okay, which of the following cannot be considered as a function of operating system? Keeping track of memory currently being used by the process during multi-program. So this is true. Why? Because it does keep track of currently being used memory, right? Creating processes and providing mechanisms for process intercommunication. Yes, it creates process and provide it. Creating files and folders and saving them in particular memory addresses. That is also true. Providing user interface between hardware and the user. That is the main function of operating system. Keeping BIOS settings for the booting up procedure. So this is the answer. Why? Because the BIOS, it is a firmware stored on a on a non-volatile chip. The operating system uses BIOS during booting it, but it does not store or manage the BIOS settings themselves. I hope that part was clear. Okay, that's clear, right? Hold on. Yes. Okay, so next. So there is the same question. I didn't notice that. Sorry for that. Okay, in multi-program operating system, which of the following is true? It's an easy question, right? Answer, guys, quickly. Lena, answer. But 4, 5, others think properly. Azar, Ajmal, answer. Now, what is the goal of multi-programming system? Still no one answered it correctly. So the goal of a multi-programming system is to maximize CPU utilization by keeping the processor busy at all times. So first one, only one process can run at a time. We know that is false. Third, only a single program is loaded into the memory. That is also wrong, not a single program. This describes uniprogramming. In multi-programming, several programs are kept in main memory simultaneously. Input output devices are shared by all processes simultaneously. Input output devices are typically dedicated to one process at a time to prevent data corruption. They are not used simultaneously by all processes. So it is typically dedicated to one process at a time, not used simultaneously. That's why you all went wrong, isn't it? Each process runs to completion before another starts. This describes what? Batch processing. Multiprogramming allows processes to be interrupted and resumed. So the answer is 2. CPU is switched between processes. This is the core mechanism of multiprogrammer. It ensures the CPU doesn't sit idle while a process waits for external events. Was that clear? Many got that part wrong. I think you all fell for this like simultaneously part in option 4. The ones who got wrong, was it all clear? Do you want me to explain any part again? Okay, again I'll go one by one. Text options. Okay. So first one we know single only one process can run at a time. That is not through multiprogramming. Okay. CPU is switched between processes. This is correct. Why? Because it ensures the CPU doesn't sit idle while a process waits for external events. The fourth option, why is it wrong? Because input output devices are typically dedicated to one process at a time, not simultaneously. Right? Now was it clear? Okay, good. So be careful. This is how they would trap you sometimes by these words. The input output are shared by all processes, but not simultaneously, right? So these are the one of the bear trap question. Be careful. Alright. Okay, which of the following is so correct? It's Azan. Also, I did see the time. Thanks for saying. We'll wait for until Azan is over. Okay. So what is the answer for this? 16th question. Which of the following is so are correct? Yes, correct. The memory is divided into fixed size blocks called pages, which are then mapped to physical memory using frames. So yes, this is in what? In paging, logical memory is divided into blocks called pages, while physical memory RAM is divided into same size blocks called frames. So that is correct. Virtual memory allows the execution of processes larger than the available physical memory. True, virtual memory is a technique that gives the illusion of a very large main memory by swapping pieces of programs in and out of the physical RAM as needed. So that is also true. It allows execution of processes larger than the available physical memory. A data structure that contains information about a process is called the process control block. True, as I mentioned earlier, PCB is a data structure used by the operating system to, to store all the information needed to manage a specific process. So yes, the answer is 5, A, B, C, or what is the major disadvantage of linked allocation? This is a question they often test. What is it? Answer, guys. Others. It's about linked allocation. Good, I got 2 correct answers. Others, Jamras, Umar, Elena, who else? Azar. I will read your names if I don't get answers. If you guys reply only, it will be a bit interactive. I don't want anyone to just stay silent. Answer, even if it is wrong, no problem. I'm not going to judge you, right? Good, good. I'm seeing the answers. Others, quickly answer. Inefficient use of memory. This is incorrect. Why? While pointers take up a small amount of space within each block, linked location is actually quite memory efficient because it utilizes every available disk block, preventing what? Preventing external fragmentation. So that is not the answer. Since they are asking the disadvantage, slow access for large files due to sequence transfer. Sure. So yes, this is the major disadvantage of linked allocation. It is inefficient for direct access because it requires sequential transversal. To find a specific block, the system must follow pointers through all preceding blocks, right? So that is the major disadvantage. Now, high risk of external fragmentation, this is false. Why? Because linked allocation completely eliminates external fragmentation because any free block on the disk can be linked to any file. I hope that was also clear. Some got that as the answer because linked allocation eliminates external fragmentation. Any free block on the disk can be linked to any file. So it eliminates external fragmentation, right? Minimize wasted storage space. This is an advantage, not a disadvantage. Okay, difficulty in file deletion. This is incorrect. Deleting a file in linked allocation is straightforward. So this is not a major disadvantage compared to the access speed issues. So they are asked major disadvantage, right? So this is slow access. I hope that was clear. Yes, yes. Others? Clear. Okay. Others? Azal? Okay. Good. No, 3 won't come because high risk of external fragmentation, as I mentioned, linked allocation, it completely eliminates external fragmentation because any free block on the disk can be linked to any file. So that is not the answer. That is not a that is false, right? The answer is completely false. Was it is it clear now? Okay. Next. Which of the following transitions occur when a process is preempted by the operating system scheduler? Okay, so I'm getting different answers. Which of the following transitions occur when a process is preempted by the operating system scheduler? So yes, the answer is one, running to ready. Okay, I'll explain this. Option two, running to waiting. Why it's wrong? The transition happens when a process voluntarily gives up the CPU because it needs to wait for an event such as an input output operation or a signal. In preemption, the operating system forces the change. In this case, the process requests it. So that is wrong. Third one, ready to terminated. A process cannot move directly from ready to terminated. It must be in running state to execute its final instruction or to be eliminated by the operating system. I hope that was clear. Waiting to ready. This occurs when the event a process was waiting for, like an input output task, is completed. So this is a key transition, not a preemption. The process is becoming eligible to run again, not being kicked off the CPU. Now, preemption, when does it happen? It happens when the CPU scheduler interrupts a process to give the CPU to another process, forcing the current one back into the ready queue to wait for its next turn. Was that clear? So preemption happens when the CPU scheduler interrupts a process to give the process to another process. So it forces the current one back into the ready queue to wait. So it's running to ready, right? Fifth one won't come because this transition ready to suspend is often known as what? Swapping. It is handled by the memory manager, not the CPU scheduler. They are asking you about the CPU scheduler, right? So this one also won't come. Was it clear? Others? Azar, for which one you meant? Being ready to run, ready to terminate, or waiting to ready? Running to ready. So that is the answer. Why? Because when this preemption happens, when the CPU scheduler interrupts a process to give the CPU to another process, forcing the current process back into the ready queue to wait for its next turn. So it moves the current process in back into ready. So running to ready, right? It means, say, when a process is preempted, that was preempted. Was it clear now? Okay. If anything wasn't clear, let me know. All right. So last year's for our paper. So when you are doing this paper, you notice that they are having the same pattern as well. And I would recommend you guys to do this exam or examination. This year's, I don't know, they haven't released a date yet, right? Do it. So that you can test your ICT knowledge. It will be like you facing a final examination. Okay. In the operating system, Dash helps increase file retrieval speed by consolidating fragmented files on the hard disk. Which of the following is most suitable for filling the blank? It's an easy one. Think and answer. I'll give some time. Okay, I got one answer. Correct. Others, Khadija, Umar, Azal, Ajmal, Abida, no. Reply, Jamras. Okay, good. I'm getting answers. Others, just at least if you're not sure, also say no problem. Your guess. So, what helps increase file retrieval speed by consolidating fragmented files on hard disk? What the helps it? Leah, at least give a guess if you don't know. Try it. Even if it's wrong, no problem. Don't just. Okay, all right. So, yes, many are confused. No problem. Fragmentation. Fragmentation is the problem itself. What is fragmentation? Files are scattered in non-contiguous pieces across the disk, which actually slows down the retrieval speed. So the asking away helps increase file retrieval speed. So that is wrong. That is the problem actually. If you have printed these MCQs, you can write next to it, mentioning it has the problem, that it is the problem itself, right? I would say it's better to get a printout if operating system is a weak lesson for you. Get the printout and get the recording from me and do it again. First take a printout, do the answer it yourself, get the recording and correct it. Okay. Second, a partition. So this involves what? Dividing a hard drive into separate logical sections. It helps with organization but does not reorganize the data within those sections to speed up individual file access. It divides, but it does not help with speeding up. So that is also wrong. Defragmentation. Yes. So defragmentation is the answer. So why not Task Manager? This, you know what it does? It is a tool which monitors active processes and system performance, but it does not reorganize files on a disk. So that is also incorrect. File Manager also is incorrect. This is the user interface used to browse and organize files of folders. So the answer is 3. Defragmentation. I hope you all know what is defragmentation. Yes, all clear. This one. Yes, yes, good. So you know what is defragmentation, right? It is a maintenance process that reorganizes the data stored on a hard drive to improve system performance. So over time, as files are created, deleted, and modified, they become fragmented, meaning pieces of a single file ended up scattered across different physical locations. Okay, all right. Next one. Consider the following paragraph about what? About virtual memory's function in an operating system. So dash may require more memory than dash when executed. Between RAM and dash, virtual memory works by temporarily swapping parts of program data and code between a dedicated area of the hard disk. This process is known as dash, ensures that the active parts of a program are cached on the RAM while the useless parts are stored on the hard disk. Now, some of you all might be confused. What is happening? Okay, think it this way. First option. Dash may require more memory than what when executing. What gets executed? Program. So program may require more memory than physical memory when you're executing, isn't it? Then between RAM and page file, virtual memory works by temporarily swapping parts of program data and code between a dedicated area of the hard disk. Between RAM and what? Between RAM and page file. So last one, you know, this process is known as what? Paging. Now in the first option they are given page file, which is wrong because program only requires more memory than physical memory. So first option is wrong. Second one, paging may require more memory than physical memory. That is wrong because the process name is only known as paging. So 4 is paging, you are sure, right? So that is also wrong. So the answer is yes. Third one, program. We'll go to the fourth option. Fourth option, physical memory may require more memory than program. That is wrong because physical memory cannot require more memory than a program. Rather, it is the program that often requires more space than the available physical memory, which is why virtual memory is needed. I hope that was correct on why Physical memory doesn't require more. So that is also wrong. And fifth is also wrong because last option they mentioned physical memory and page file process is only known as paging. Was that part clear? Option 2 is wrong because paging is the name of the process, not the entity requiring memory. Was it clear? You might get confused when you're first what you if you're getting confused for questions like this, first eliminate the most incorrect answer. If you have doubts between answer, first eliminate the wrong ones. Then you will somehow get the correct answer. Okay. I hope that was clear. Alright. So which of the following is an advantage of virtual memory? Which is the advantage of virtual memory? Guys, I just mentioned it, right? Okay, good. Others, Khadija, good. Ajmal, Azal, others, quickly. So you see this paging virtual memory has been repeatedly tested, so focus on that topic well. Yes, correct, correct. Ajmal, no, not correct. Lena, yes, got it now. Okay, yes. So which of the following is an advantage of virtual memory? Eliminates the need for physical memory. Wrong, because virtual memory requires physical memory to function. It is a memory management technique that uses secondary storage to supplement RAM, not replace it. So that is wrong. Yes, the answer is second one. It allows for executing processes that exceed the size of physical memory. So the primary purpose of virtual memory is this. It uses a technique what called paging. It swaps data between RAM and the hard drive. Okay, I hope that was clear. So why is option 3 wrong? Accelerates the execution time of the CPU. It's wrong. Accessing data from secondary storage is significantly slower than accessing RAM, right? So that is also wrong. It reduces memory requirement of cache memory. So virtual memory and cache memory serves different purposes. It's also wrong and reduces memory requirement of main memory. Virtual memory does not require the physical RAM required for the system. It allows system to run larger programs than the RAM would permit. So it does not reduces memory requirement of main memory. Alright, so we had done it. So we are done with the Mora questions from 2021 to 2025. Shall we move on to past papers directly? Let's see. This is an FWC questions. Shall we do past papers and come back to FWC papers? I think that is better, right? Okay, we will do past papers. I think that is better than others. From 2016 onwards, right? Try this question. Quick, quick, guys. It's an easy one. Okay, great. So, in an operating system, suspending the currently executing process and then resuming or starting another process is termed as suspending the currently executing process. What does it? Context switching. Not interrupting, context switching. So, what is context switching? It is the mechanism of storing this current state of a process so that it can be paused and resumed later. This allows multiple processes to share a single CPU efficiently. I hope that was clear. So first one is wrong because paging it is a memory management scheme. While here we are talking about what? Process management. So that is wrong. Swapping it is moving a process between main memory and secondary storage. It does not save the current state. Interrupting it is a signal to the processor that temporarily halts it. It just holds the current task. So that is also wrong. Blocking it is a state where a process waits for an input output to occur. All right. So the answer is context switching. I hope it was clear. Now, in modern operating systems, the dash scheduler determines the transition of processes from the new state to the ready state. Which of the following is the correct term to fill in the blank in the above statement? Which scheduler does it? Which determines the transition of processes from the new state to the ready state? Quickly, guys, which scheduler does it? Short term, mid term, which term? Long term. See, this is a 10-year ago past paper question. See how they have been tested. Answer? Don't know. So scheduler part, many people get confused. Okay. So midterm, what does it do? It handles process that needs to be swept out of memory temporary. Swept out only it does swapping. So that is wrong. Did they say over here swept out? No, right? Or they say from new to ready state. So the answer is long-term scheduler, which is also known as job scheduler. Remember the other name as well. It controls the degree of multi-programming by selecting which process from the new are admitted into the ready queue in main memory. So this is what the long-term scheduler does. It selects which process from the new are admitted into the ready queue in main memory. There's nothing very long term, very short term. And short term scheduler, okay, so short term scheduler is also known as the CPU scheduler. So another name for long term was what? Job scheduler. For short term, it is known as CPU scheduler. It selects which process from ready queue should be executed next. Not from new to ready, but from ready queue only it does. Okay, so the answer is option 2. I hope that was also clear. Next, 2017 question. The execution of series of non-interactive jobs on a Okay, this is not an operating system, but try it. This can also come under this one. Unit 1 as well. So the execution of a series of non-interactive jobs on a PC with relative to the user is known as, what is the answer? Non-interactive jobs on a PC. Okay, we'll go with the first option. Okay, multitasking. Multitasking, what does it mean? Refers to a single user running multiple applications. Did they say over here about single users or anything? They are saying what? Series of non-interactive jobs. So no. Multi-user processing. It is a use of two or more CPUs within a single computer system. Not related. Multi-processing. Right. Multi-processing, I just said. Okay, sorry. It is a use of two or more CPUs within a single computer system. Multi-user, multiple users are using it. Then online processing. It requires continuous connection and user interaction. But in batch processing, it involves collecting programs and data into batches and running them without user intervention. So the answer is 4, batch processing. Was that clear? Not online, not multiprocessing. Was that part clear? Series of non-interactive jobs. Multiprocessor, it involves collecting programs and data into what? Batches and running them without user invention. Okay, I hope that was clear. So that's another 2017 past paper question. Which of the following statement is correct? Application software load applications into main memory. It is false because the operating system is a type of system software, not application software. Is responsible for loading applications into main memory. The application does not do it. What does it? The system software. That's not. The programs stored in ROM are known as system software. So programs stored in read-only memory, what are they known as? What is a program stored in ROM known as? Not system software. What is it, guys? Think. Firmware, right? Remember? Forgot. Basics. Programs stored in read-only memory are known as firmware. BIOS and all. Okay, I hope that was clear. So option 3. System software supports data communication between peripheral devices. Is this true or false? True, right? Because system software such as device drivers, it facilitates the communication between the computers, hardware, and peripheral devices. Examples, scanner, printers. So that is correct. Utility software is generally stored in RAM. That is wrong because utility software means like antivirus or disk cleaners is typically stored on the hard drive, not in ROM. And fifth one, utility software is incorporated in washing machines. So washing machines they use embedded software known as like firmware, not general utility software to control their functions. Should be embedded. Okay, I hope that was clear. Okay, next, try this out. Guys, are you all sleepy, bored, or what? Do you know the answer? Past paper seems a bit tough. Is that so? Need a break? Who needs a break? Raise your hands. Let's see. I'll go with majority. The majority doesn't say. What should I do? Others. Should I give a break or no? 4 minute break. How about others? Lena, Jamra, Ajmal. Need a break? Okay, okay. 5 minute break is enough, right? Don't leave. Don't leave the meeting because I know if you leave, you'll take 15 minutes to join back. Stay in the meeting. 10 minutes is too much. We have to do until I think 2024. See which question number is this? 44. Okay, 8 minutes. Very nice. Okay, 1:15. Don't leave. Sharp 1:15, you should come back. Just keep the meeting on and come back. 1:15. Okay, 3 says yes. So, okay, take a break. Others, if there's any doubt in any question, you can let me know. Those who don't want a break, try the past paper questions. And ones who are watching through YouTube, any doubts you can ask me now. Okay, enough of break. Okay, are you all there? Raise your hands. Let's see. Others, others. So many are dropping WhatsApp messages now asking for recordings. Okay, so shall we start? Okay, try this 44th question. This is 2000, which year? 2018 past paper question. Quickly try and drop me the answer. So which of the following is true or correct? Okay. Disk defragmentation makes files that are fragmented in a disk contagious. Is it true or false? True or false? Guys, are you all there or slept in the break? Okay, everyone raise your hands once again. Lina, Khadija, Azal. Guys, answer. Okay. So disk defragmentation makes files that are fragmented in a disk contiguous. Yes, it is correct. Defragmentation, what does it do? It reorganizes data so that the file paths are stored in contiguous sectors, improving read or write speed. So that is true. Swapping is a memory management technique where the main memory contents which were not recently used are copied to disk to make the memory available for other processes. Yes. So swapping, what does it do? It moves processes or memory pages between RAM and secondary storage, means the disk, to optimize memory usage. Right? So that is also correct. Option B is also correct. Okay. A file allocation table is a table that an operating system maintains which provides a map of the clusters that the file has been stored in. This is also correct. FAT means file allocation table is it's a file system architecture that uses a table to track the physical locations, means the clusters of file on a disk. So that is also true. The answer is 5, all A, B, C. Was that part clear? Clear, guys? Was it clear? Was that clear? Please say in the chat box. Yes, so. Okay. Okay. 40. Through which of the following will a device controller that controls a device deal with the operating system? An easy one, which controls the operating system? The device driver. And what is a device driver? A type of software that acts as an interface between operating system and the hardware's device controller. It translates operating system commands into instructions that the hardware can understand. So that's an easy one. Which of the following is a hardware device that maps virtual address to physical address? Which does that? Answer. It's the easiest question. See 2019 one. Quickly, guys. So it is memory management. We all know that. It is the hardware that maps virtual address to physical address. Okay. Now, now on a single processor computer, a user starts a spreadsheet application and creates a new spreadsheet. To get some information required for the spreadsheet, he opens a large database using his database management system. After completing his spreadsheet, he saves it. Okay. Which of the following operating system feature has or have been used by the above user? I just thought this a while ago. So yes, context switching, it saves the current state. File management also it happens because it is storing in the database management, virtual memory also. So the answer is all A, B, and C. Was that clear? Okay, I hope that was also clear. Right. So consider the process transition diagram in the figure. If the transitions shown are as follows, then what are the states indicated by the labels A, B, and C respectively? Can someone try this question? So first one, what is happening is process blocks for input output. Then what do you think is? From A to B, what is happening? The process blocks for input output. Okay, read it, try and let me know the answer. So okay, if it is wrong also just try. We only have few days left. If you don't do past papers now, no use. I would say to do from 2011 actually. Lina Jamras, try. Dinu. Okay, so what is happening in one? The process requires an input-output operation, right? And in two, from A to C, what is happening is scheduler picks another process. So A is ready to run it. A to C is ready to block. Wait. Sorry. Yes, the question is ready to block. Option 4 actually. A is running, B is blocked, C is ready. So what happened? Running to blocked, what is happening is the process requires an input output operation and cannot continue, right? And in running to ready means A to C, the scheduler frames the process, right? In third one means C to A, which is ready to running. The scheduler selects the process to execute next. Fourth B to C, what is happening? Block to ready. The input output event the process was waiting for has finished. So the answer is running, blocked, and ready. I hope that was clear. Now, which of the following is not an information stored in PCB of the operating system? So program counter is there, memory identification is there, identification number, process state is also there. What else? Memory management information for the process? Yes, that is also there. No, it is not there. 3 disk slots. Simple. Read a similar question earlier. Right. The operating system is another program that runs on the computer that has some special responsibilities. Memory management, file management, and input output management are some of the responsibilities, which is another important which is another important responsibility of the operating system they are asking. Apart from the ones they have mentioned, which is it? It has responsibility. What is that? Memory management, file management, input output. Is there something called backup management? No. Cache memory management? No. Compiler management? No. Process management? Yes. You all know the types of management. So that's a simple question. There's nothing simple. Clock management. Sorry, system clock management. So the answer is process management. Okay. When the number of processes started by a user on a single processor computer increases, what happens to the response time of each process as perceived by the user and the memory management related work of the operating system, respectively? So, what happens when the number of processes started by a computer increases? What happens to the response time? Option 1. Both the response time and the memory management work related increase. Yes, both increases. Response time decreases. No, the response time doesn't decrease. It increases in fact. So that is wrong. Response time increases while the memory management work also increases since they are starting another one. Both the response time and memory management related work decrease. That is also false. There is no change in either of them. That is also false. So the answer is both of that increases. Was that part clear? So what is response time? You all know. In a single processor system, CPU time is shared, right? As the number of processes increase, each process receives less frequent CPU cycles, causing this response time to increase. Okay, and memory management. With more processes, the operating system must work harder to manage address spaces, page tables, and potential swapping. Therefore, memory management work also increases. So both increases. I hope that was clear. Next one. Which of the following is not a responsibility of the operating system? Allocating physical memory to processes. Is that a responsibility of the operating system? Yes, but what are they asking here? Not a responsibility. So that doesn't come. Deciding which process to run, yes, it is a responsibility. Keeping track of the usage of compiled program file on a hard disk. So that is not the responsibility of that is not a responsibility of the operating system. The operating system manages files and disk drives, but it doesn't track the specific internal usage or execution path of a compiled program. So that is the answer because it is not a responsibility of tracking it. Keeping track of which parts of physical memory are in use and which are free. That's what it does, right? And swapping processes, it also operating system does. See, it's a 2020 past paper. Not that hard, right? In a computer, the size of a user program could exceed the size of physical memory. Also, only the demanded area of programs are kept in physical memory. The above is due to which of the following? The same thing they are testing in different words. Look, so now if this year they are giving you the options of the use of contiguous file allocation, next year they might put the option like a question. That's how they usually do. The pattern doesn't change. What is the answer? Lena, Chomras, Dinut, answer. Question number 53. The use of what are they describing above? Simple. Paging, right? Isn't it? The use of page frames and page tables. So they are describing the scenario of virtual memory and paging. Five. Yes, correct. That is the answer. So others we have studied earlier. I'm going to explain it right. Which of the following is a good example for batch processing? This is a unit one related one. But batch processing, no, it is payroll. So payroll, they collect everything in batches and then execute it. It's done in batches, right? Right. Now, okay, sorry. Okay. So Amara looks into a single processor computer and starts a program to work on his presentation. He opens a web browser to get some information as well. They asked a similar question like this earlier as well, isn't it? Now they are asking what is happening over here. The state. So A. What is happening in A? Ready to running. Amara is saving his presentation on the hard disk. So that is what? Ready to running. Right? Oh, so sorry. Okay. Now, Amara is saving his presentation on the hard disk. That is happening to Rani to Reading, not ready to Rani. I said the opposite way. Sorry. So Amara is saving his presentation on the hard disk. What is happening? The running state is going from running to ready state, right? When you save it, right? Now, from ready to running, what is happening? The finishing of saving the presentation on the hard disk. So option A, it is both one, whereas B, it is one, the reason of why the state is changing. In C, what is happening? Operating system suspending the presentation process to let the web browser process to run on the processor. So it's get from block to ready state because it is letting the web browser processor to run. So from block to ready it is going, right? Now from running to block, what is happening? The operating system scheduling the presentation process to run on the processor. I hope that was clear. Did you get this part or want me to explain it in depth? Why is this happening? Because it's a single processing computer, right? Was it clear, guys, or do you want me to explain it in depth? Please say yes or no. Was it clear? Clear, everyone? Not clear. Okay. So in A, what is happening? It's going from ready to running, right? Okay, just hold on this question. Is there error there or something? Let me just check it. Okay, just come back. This is at the end. I think there is something. Okay, we'll do this next. Okay, a page table. What is a page table? Is it a computer hardware unit through which all the memory reference pass? False, right? A data structure that keeps information about the pages that are in process caches. No, that is also false. A hardware component in memory that facilitates page movement. No, it's not a hardware component. So what is a page table? It is a data structure maintained by the operating system that stores the mapping between virtual address and physical address. So the answer is fourth one. All right. Okay. So next we have is about the file allocation table. For this, there's a calculation part to do. Okay, this one I thought to do with paper to, the structured part. So I will leave this. The answer is anyway 103 actually. So it starts with, you map it this way. So it's end with what? 103. From -1 is the starting. From that, what is the next number? Next to it, 101. 101, go find it. 101, next to it is 100. Next to 100, it is 103. After that, there's no any number. So that is the directory entry for the my program file. And the disk space is 12 KB. How do you find this 12 KB? Because it allocates file occupies 3 blocks, right? 103, 101, 100. So the given block size is over here, it's there, 4 KB. So 3 blocks into 4 KB. How much is it? 3 blocks into 4 KB is 12 KB. So that's the answer. We did it in that way. Okay. Which of the following requires real-time processing? This is not about operating system, so we'll skip that. Okay. A program in execution in a computer is called a process. Such a process transits between several states during its lifetime. Which of the following correctly represents a possible state transition sequence of a process? Which of the following is correct, guys? Think properly. I'll give some time. So the correct answer is 1. From new to ready, ready to running, from running to waiting. So in new, what is happening? The process is being created. In ready, the process is loaded into memory and is waiting for the CPU to pick it. Right? In running, the CPU is currently executing the process instructions. In waiting or block, we can say it as the process cannot continue until a specific event occurs, like a like waiting for a user input, right? So under ready, it goes to ready again. Once the input output event is finished, the process doesn't go straight back to the CPU. It must go back to the ready queue to wait for its turn. Then it comes back again to running. The CPU picks it again to finish execution. At last, the process finishes its execution, right? So in option 3 and 4, a process cannot go from new to directly running. So that's wrong. In option 2, a process cannot go from waiting directly to running. So that's why those are wrong. Okay. Which of the following is not a task of computer operating system? Try this question. What is the answer? Which of the following is not a task of computer operating system? Okay. Selecting memory frame for a page of a process. So this is a task of what? Memory management. Maintaining a list of free memory frames, that is also memory management. The operating system must track which parts of memory are free. Okay. Maintaining a page table, that is also memory management. So it is a task. Monitoring the usage of binary files on a hard disk. Okay, while the operating system manages the file system, it does not monitor the usage of specific binary files. So that is the answer. It is not a task of operating system. Monitoring file usage is usually the job of application software, right? So there's another one. As I said earlier, how to do this. Just look at the flow I'm going in. So it ends at 203, as I said. How many blocks are being used? Guys, answer. Try it. I already did one earlier. So 4 blocks are being used, and the block size of a disk is 4 KB. So 4 into 4 is 16. The answer is 16 KB. And why 203? Because it ends at that. All right. 4. Yes, correct, Amras. Good. Okay, since we did a similar question like this, I'll skip it. Which of the following will cause the CPU to execute a different set of instructions? The answer is 5, I explained everything earlier. Again, a similar question. We'll do this one. PCB, I already thought, right? Now, Amara switches on a multi-user computer. Earlier, it was a single processing computer, isn't it? Yeah, it is a multi-user computer. So after it has booted, Sama logs on into the computer from a terminal and starts a web browser. After some time, Sama starts a text editor also to work on a Python program. Then Rani also logs in to the computer from another terminal and starts a web browser. Which of the following are possible execution sequence on the processor of this computer? So I'll just read to say the answer and explain. It is 1. Because BIOS is starting it, and after that, followed by the operating system taking control, right? Then it opens up Sama's web browser process. After then, the operating system, it does context switching. It saves the current process and opens up Sama's text editor process. After that, it includes Rani's web browser process. This is wrong because bias always starts first, right? So those options are wrong. Right. And in this option, operating system context switching should happen. Okay. I hope that was clear. Now each block of a disk is 512 bytes. When a file size of 1959 bytes is stored on the disk, how many bytes allocated to the file would be wasted? So how do you do is 1959 divide by 512. You won't get a point number, a full decimal number. Instead, you have to round it off. So when you round it off, you'll get it as 4 blocks. So 4 into 512 bytes, the answer would be 248 bytes. 248 bytes. Subtract it from, okay, 2048 bytes. Subtract it from 1959 bytes. We'll get the answer as 89. Was that part clear, guys? We have done It's 2 o'clock as well. This PCB question, we did it already earlier. I mean, I already thought all about PCB. 64 also the answer is 1. Was it all clear, guys? Only I did do the FWC questions. Okay, was everything clear? Okay, was everything clear, Jamra, Lena? It's 2 o'clock.